I was just overjoyed, so happy. But we knew we wanted
We
to
already knew.
be
When
together.
you know.
So I was just nervous, like, am I making the right decision?
Wow. Wow. Really?
Obviously now.
All this time, 2.5 years, and he's still, are you sure? You
But-
sure it's not too late? The car's still running outside. I left it running.
Welcome to I Can't Wait to Travel, episode 2. I am Lisa.
And I'm Anthony.
We are the co-founders and owners of I Can't Wait to Travel, but now we have a podcast for everyone.
Who would have known?
Absolutely. So on episode 1, we talked about how we met, the story, the journey, everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now on episode 2,
Deuces.
it's about Anthony proposing.
Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
So we've been dating for a while at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like almost 2 years. I'd say like 1.5 to 2 years or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And you decided to propose.
Yeah, I did.
So
I built up the courage.
set the scene. Walk us up to this moment.
And scene. So it goes a little something like this. I knew, like I said in the previous episode, I knew I wanted to marry Lisa from the first time we went out. I knew it. I felt it in my soul. So the first time we ever went out to the beach is when we had our first kiss. And I felt, how appropriate would it be to propose at the same place where we had our first kiss? On Fort Lauderdale Beach, Los Olas.
So I don't know if you remember this. You kept on telling me like, hey, like we should go out to the beach. Like, do you want to watch the sunset? Like you did it for like a week. Like, let's see the sunset. Let's see the sunset. So little of me was like, is something gonna happen? But I wasn't sure. And we finally made it. We went out to the beach.
And if you notice, I typically do that before just testing you, just like how you have this thing in your hand called the Remarkable. Not sponsored by Remarkable on this episode, but I kept asking you, what? Look at this. Look at this.
Yes.
Look at this.
So this was my Valentine's Day gift. And every time this came on the TV or something, he's like, isn't that an interesting gadget? And I'm like, da. So yes, you do drop a little bit of crumbs. I think that's just to check my reaction and see what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting out there and we're on the beach, on the sand.
Right before sunset.
And somehow you got me to start talking about our whole relationship. It's like you you finagled your way into getting me to like, yes, and our first kiss was
Jedi
here.
mind tricks.
And then we went and did this. And we really just spoke about every single part of our relationship as we were sitting there.
Yeah.
And then right when we got to the end of our entire love story, I heard screaming to the right.
That was so crazy.
And I looked over and another guy had just proposed to his girlfriend.
Stealing my thunder.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. What were you thinking at that point?
I was like, oh man, this is creep. Man, he done stole my thunder, the element of surprise.
Yeah.
But I guess it was still going to become a surprise.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. So you already went down the storyline.
Yeah.
They start celebrating to the right.
Slight pause in our story.
And then I had to go to the bathroom.
What else
You
could go
must have
wrong?
been dying inside.
You know how I was getting back in those days where I start sweating, even if it's cold outside, when I get nervous.
So at that point, we're on the beach. So we have to leave the beach, go to like the restaurants and pubs and all that stuff and find the restroom. Like the whole momentum has broken up. I still, I had some inkling something might happen, but I wasn't sure. So
Still
we
had
get
the element of
back
surprise.
to the beach and you're like, so where were we?
Yeah. Scene 2. Take 2.
And do you remember what happened next?
Well, what happened was I kind of forgot. Well, what I did was I grabbed the ring, took it out my pocket, and I said, what?
Does this mean you don't remember? You're having me fill it in?
It's been 19 years.
You gave a speech, but to be honest,
What was the speech?
I can't even remember anything you said because you got on one knee and the whole time you were giving your speech, I was like
sounding
screaming.
like Charlie Brown.
No. I was screaming. I was crying. All I heard was, "Will you marry me?"
Oh, at least that part got to you.
Yes, and I was just overjoyed, so happy. I remember us driving home, calling everyone on the way
we
back.
We did it, guys. We're getting
screaming,
married.
Cheering, going crazy.
And we're getting married in 6 months.
Yeah. So we did get married about 6 months later, which everyone thought it was like, oh my gosh, what's the rush? But we knew we wanted to. We
already knew.
Be
when
together.
You know.
We already knew that we wanted to start our life, start looking for a place to live. And remember, guys, we were waiting until we got married. So there was some expedition on this track.
Oh, Lord.
So by the time we ended up going through those 6 months, we got married. And the wedding day's here.
Oh, man, the wedding day. You know, leading up to that wedding, I said to myself, I got to lose weight. I got to get right. So I had my Rocky music on, running up and down stairs, got a trainer, trying to get in shape because I wanted to make sure I looked right on my wedding day. Because, you know, those pictures and those videos last a lifetime. You don't want to be going in there looking all...
We both lost so much weight for our wedding. Like
you actually lost too much weight.
Yeah, my wedding dress was like,
you were like
I was swimming in it. They were trying to sew it up to make it tighter, but they're like, we can't make this any smaller.
Yeah,
we went
any smaller would
extreme.
Be like a corset.
But like, back in those days, it was so easy to lose weight that I was down to like 130.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I had.
And I'm 5'8" for reference for you guys.
I got down to 185. I think.
I
think prior to that, at one point I was at 230.
Yeah.
And I lost a lot of weight.
We both lost.
Yeah.
But the wedding day comes. Were you concerned if I was going to say yes or not?
No.
You knew.
You knew. I already knew. I wasn't like, although your dad, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
my
dad.
To try to.
He cried almost every day from the engagement until the wedding day. Like every single day he cried.
Wildin'.
I'm his only daughter.
Wildin'.
So I actually was nervous. I wasn't nervous.
Of course I was nervous as well too. You know, everybody's around, all the people flying in from all over. Even people I didn't know that were coming.
I'm not even talking about the wedding day. Like I was just nervous about being married.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I saw getting married as this being hopefully a one and done.
Yeah.
So I was just nervous, like, am I making the right decision?
Wow. Really?
Obviously now I can look back and say it was the right decision.
Well, what would give you cause to pause?
I mean, I was honestly, before we got married, I was looking for like, are there any red flags that I should be worried about? And like little things that you would do, I would freak out.
Wow.
Like I remember before we got married, we went to like the gas station and I don't know if like you didn't get out immediately to pump the gas or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, my dad always got out to pump the gas. What am I doing? This may be the sign.
I probably wasn't even thinking anything about that.
I'm sure you weren't. But because I was just nervous, I was looking for little
But then who pumps the gas all the time now?
You do. You do. Absolutely. But
for the win.
But before I was just, scared. I remember driving on the day of the wedding and it was Renee, which is one of my best friends, and my niece. And I was just like a deer
because
in
I
headlights.
put the ketchup in the cupboard and not in the fridge.
No, I was just like nervous. I think I would have been like that with anyone. And I got to the wedding, and everyone went into the hall to get prepared and start the wedding. And my dad walked in, and I was by myself. And he said, "Oh, I didn't know you were the only one in here. Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, Dad."
He was watching the whole time.
I'm fine. And he said,
Here's my chance.
It's not too late.
Creep.
We can still leave. You don't have to feel pressured to get married.
Flag on the play.
But he was just trying to say, like, don't think because all of this money was spent, you have to go through this. This is an important decision.
All this time, 2.5 years, and he's still, are you sure? Sure it's not too late? The car's still running outside. I left it running.
But you ended up becoming one of the best guys in his life. He didn't have the foresight at that time yet. So by the time I got out there and I saw you, all of those fears just drifted away.
Must have been the makeup they put on my face. It was quite a lot.
All of those fears drifted away. And I was just like, so happy. So happy to be married to you.
Oh, man.
And,
shucks.
And you did one thing that I had prayed and hoped for my whole life.
Why would somebody pray for somebody to cry at a wedding?
I always knew
what had happened was
my husband would cry at the wedding, and if he didn't cry, I was going to be like devastated. So when you started crying, I was like,
it's because when they were preparing the food, somebody had just walked by and they had onions on the food.
There was no food at the ceremony.
Well, because the food thing was right beside it, and then they walked by, and then the onions, I got a whiff of it. And so what had happened was, then it began to make me tear up a little. It just happened to be at the same time you were walking in. That's my story.
Yeah. So what memories do you have from that wedding period?
I remember a good friend of mine who were still really good friends, that when he was walking in with, I can't remember if it was my sister or with your cousin, and he was walking in like like Frankenstein. He was walking in like Frankenstein, and it's only because he had.
The sad part is that it's true. But go ahead.
It's only because he had broke his back when we were in college.
And you're laughing at this.
Yeah, because it's all good now.
Okay.
But I remember that. I remember taking the picture with the rest of the guys, with my best man and your cousin and everybody else, and feeling nervous. Again, nervous, not feeling nervous about, hey, we're about to get married, but just the whole ceremony, going through the whole thing. Like, I would have been fine with just eloping. Because, at that time, didn't feel always too good around the crowds, a lot of people. But I had to muscle it. For you, dear.
Yeah, you did great. You even did a speech that day.
Yeah,
you
that
came
was
out
hard.
Dancing into the reception.
It's amazing what a little champagne would do to you.
So we definitely had a wonderful day. And of course, in the moment, it was supposed to be this beautiful outdoor wedding.
Yep.
We had to have it indoor because of the rain, but it still ended up being one of the best days ever.
And we know a couple of people who got married at the same place after us at Benvenuto.
Absolutely. So we leave this wedding and we head off to where we're spending the night.
Four Seasons.
The Four Seasons in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So what did you think when you saw the Four Seasons?
It looked amazing. Now, mind you, how old were we then?
We're in our 20s. I'm like 24, you're 28.
Yeah. So this is the first time I think I had ever been to a Four Seasons. So I went in there. It was like so immaculate, so beautiful. It's very elegant. And then I think we had breakfast or dinner that night. And I was like, oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
These are the Four Season prices?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
So just to rewind, let's slow it down a little bit. So we get there to the Four Seasons. This is not TV or movie like at all. We go to our honeymoon night with Sophie and Todd.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And then Todd and Sophie are like hanging out with us.
It's like, get out of here.
And then we were so broke because we were so young that we had to go through all of the gifts from the wedding so that we could have money to pay for our food at the Four Seasons at night and in the morning.
I think it cost all the money we got.
Yeah. And as you were saying, the breakfast was insane. I think I had a waffle. You had
Oh, something.
And it was just
It was
so
a lot.
pricey. I'd be curious to see that bill now because 20 years later, or 19 years later, it probably was like a normal bill now.
Probably is.
It was probably true. Like IHOP prices.
Yeah. And prices are ridiculous.
So after we left the Four Seasons, it
was time to go to Jamaica.
Yes. So we were lucky enough to have all of our family pay for our honeymoon at Sandals Ochi.
Yeah.
It was going to be our first Sandals. We are so excited about this. We ended up starting off a little bumpy because Anthony at that time was scared to fly.
I never liked flying. Still don't really like it. I could tolerate it because of, occupation, having to fly and do meetings. But when I used to get on the plane, my eyes would be closed the whole time praying, speaking in other tongues. Abba, 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 Abba. Lord, guide the plane. Allow the plane to get there safely.
Yeah, like he was terrified. Was our honeymoon the first flight we had been on together?
Actually, it was.
Yeah, so
that was the first time.
I didn't know you were that. I knew you were nervous, but I had no idea it was to that level.
Yeah.
You were like, you didn't even want to talk to me.
No,
you were just like looking down,
distracting me from
holding
praying.
your hands. Yeah, you were. It was serious.
I know a lot of people out there feel that way about flying too.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
You fly like
all the time,
like at least once or twice a month.
But I'm still praying.
But what a change.
I know. It's true. But it was due to my occupation though, because with the benefit of, being in sales and traveling for the company, I got to really, travel and see a lot of different places across the whole U.S., Utah, areas of Canada, Nova Scotia, not Nova Scotia, I'm sorry, Vancouver, Texas. And so throughout some of our travels here in the U.S., we were able to go travel to some of those places as well, too. Obviously, you travel around and you see it for occupation-wise, for work. But it was great to be able to go back and see those places on vacation, too.
Yeah. So we get to Sandals Ochi.
Jamaica.
We're so excited. This is going to be the vacation of a lifetime. And wasn't
what we expected.
This resort, we love Sandals, by the way. So don't get us wrong. But Sandals Ochi in 2006.
Yeah.
It was
kind of old school.
In need of a renovation.
Yeah. Big time renovation.
So and
it wasn't on the beach either. It's up the hill.
Yeah.
Where you can see the beach from a distance. So you weren't on a beach. You had a lot of pools and stuff. It was a big one, but.
And you were like in this villa and it looked like your aunt's house. Like you had gone to your old Aunt Sally, who was in her 70s. And she had gotten this house and it had a kitchen. And the kitchen was old. It was just really disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't really. And they had some red stripe there.
But you guess what?
What's that?
If we had a travel agent back at that time that could ask us, what are you looking for? What style do you like? What preference do you have? We could have been suited better.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know better.
We didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And that's why it's very beneficial, because look how many people who have booked with us have had life-changing experiences based on the recommendations and suggestions, and even being able to take those recommendations where you say, actually, you probably don't want to go to that place. What I would recommend is going to these two places, select from these two. And then they've come back and they've raved about their experience. Right? Because we want to create experiences that are life-changing and altering. And like you had a customer just the other day talking about the experience that she's had.
Absolutely. It's the difference between just booking a trip and having an experience.
Yep.
So we were disappointed. My mom called because she was, the spearhead of booking this trip for us. And she was like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I don't want to seem ungrateful. They did this whole trip for us. And she's like, you don't like it? It's not amazing? I'm like,
if I was in my 90s.
Yeah, it's okay. So they quickly realized that we weren't too happy where we were. So the entertainment was great there.
Yeah, it was good.
But the accommodations were just so old.
Speaking about entertainment, there was at that when we got there and there was all this entertainment going on, but it started to rain and I was supposed to go on stage. And you know, guys, I don't really do too well in front of people at that time. And what happened? All I remember is just running out into the rain. I'd rather get rained on.
He was in a line with people on the side to go perform on stage. And when he was about to perform, they called his name and he was nowhere to be found. Mind you, it was raining so heavy. We were under a tent. You ran out in the rain.
I'd rather go in the rain than public speak in front of people.
Than just perform in front of these people.
That's right. I felt more relief standing in the rain like Mary Poppins with an umbrella. Actually, no, I didn't even have an umbrella.
You had nothing.
I was just my shirt over my head, getting drenched. But at least I didn't have to go on that stage.
And then they're putting all of this on me. Like, where's your husband? He was supposed to. I'm like,
you should have known he wouldn't have wanted to come up here. 2.5 years of dating, you know I don't like speaking in front of people at that time.
So,
you know, people feel public speaking, fear that more than they do death.
Absolutely. I feel like I heard that again this week. Where did you hear that again this week?
I've been hearing that for years.
Someone
and it's true.
Seinfeld said it this week as well.
She's on the Seinfeld trip lately. Every time I walk into the room, Seinfeld.
So we ended up going to the hotel across from Sandals Ochi. And
because your aunt made a call.
My uncle and aunt made a call. They live in Jamaica.
That's right. It's all about who you know. Just make one phone call. Oh, we're moving you.
And it was a boutique hotel.
What was it called?
It was called Royal Plantation. Yeah. And it only had like maybe 60 something rooms. Yeah. And it was right there on the water. Still like a European style, but much more modern. And the service was incredible.
Magnifique.
I mean, everyone there knew our names. So I'm 24, you're 28, and they're like, Mr. and Mrs. Service, what can we do for you? How can we help you? It was just so amazing how they treated us.
The food was great too, like 5-course meals, and it was just wonderful.
And then for those of you who haven't been to a Sandals, when you stay at one Sandals, you can hop to all of the others. So we could still go back to the Sandals we were originally at for the entertainment by day, and then come back to our hotel for like the better food, the better accommodations,
it's
the
not
intimacy.
In hopping distance. You have to get on a little trolley to take you there. It's not
like a trolley or a car or whatever it is, a shuttle.
Bus.
Yeah.
Or train.
So it was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Now, my most memorable moment, which you know,
was it when it was thunder and lightning outside in the middle of the night and I kicked you by accident?
No, I wasn't going to share that story. You're making me regret why I married you on my honeymoon.
Red flag.
Yes. So when you're in Jamaica, for those of you who don't know, a thunderstorm is so different in Jamaica than here. There is a reason why they say thunderclap. Because the mountains are there, the thunder just hits.
The echo too.
And it's just a huge echo.
You feel the vibration.
It's like you feel like you're about to get hit by lightning.
Yeah.
So the thunder and lightning was so bad one night that you must have been having a nightmare.
Yeah.
And just
I'm going down, walking down the altar. I'm getting married. Oh my gosh.
That's your nightmare?
I'm joking.
Really? So we that may be your favorite moment.
That's not my favorite moment.
My favorite moment was one night we came back from Sandals Ochi.
Oh yes.
And Butch Stewart is the owner of Sandals. Unfortunately, he has passed away now. But he has his children, Adam Stewart. He has a daughter. I can't remember her name right now. And he has other kids. But his daughter got married the same week as us. And she was rumored to be at the Royal Plantation at that same time. So when we came back from Sandals Ochi and we came in, I don't know why we didn't eat dinner over there. We came in and we was like 11 o'clock at night. We were hungry. Late. So one of the, I think it was like the bartenders was like, hey, are you guys okay? I'm like, I'm actually hungry.
A bit famished, that.
And he was like, oh, well, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, I don't know what's open. He's like, well, all the restaurants are already closed, but we can still make something for you. What do you want? And of course, I'm like 24. What do I want? I'll have lobster and fries.
I'll have the lobster and fries, huh?
So you like, I'll have lobster and fries too.
Oh, why not?
So we were standing there at the bar waiting for them to bring out our food.
Lobster and fries.
And I start seeing like 4 or 5 men, like all like shuffling together, bringing out white linen tablecloths, setting up the table with like numerous forks, numerous knives. That like they were like doing a huge showing. So I said to Anthony, "Oh my gosh! I think Butch Stewart's daughter's coming down to eat. Look at them; they're all getting ready. Snack. They're all getting ready. We're gonna
she
finally
must be getting
meet her.
Lobster and fries too."
And then they turned to us and they said, Mr. and Mrs. Service?
Who, me?
And I was like, that's for us at 11 o'clock at night?
Wow.
And I couldn't believe like the service that they provided. So since then, I call it the Sandals effect, the Butch effect. Like we were like, okay, we're committed. Sandals is definitely going to stay on our list of hotels. Now, for those of you who have not been to a Sandals, not every Sandals is the same.
Yeah, they're different.
You want to make sure you go to the right Sandals based on your preference, because you may love one Sandals and another one you might be like, it was okay. They're all great, but you need to find the one that fits you.
Yeah. We've been to quite a lot of Sandals.
I would say we've been to maybe 85 to 90% of the Sandals. And they're all over the Caribbean. They're in Jamaica, Antigua, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent, Curacao. So they're definitely a great company.
Yeah.
So that was my most special moment. Do you remember anything else from our honeymoon at Sandals?
I know for sure, like obviously you saw the steel band was playing. They had a bunch of old school Jamaican dudes playing on the ocean. Not on the ocean, but on the beach, just playing. It was like such a good vibe. The drinks at Sandals have always been consistent.
Yes.
Consistent at every single Sandals we've ever been to. It's the only place I've ever seen where
they must be following the recipe, because I think for Caribbean resorts, in my opinion, Sandals is the most consistent and has the best drinks across all of their resorts.
And they taste the exact same. It's almost like McDonald's is, not comparing them to McDonald's, but McDonald's has a formula and they want their McDonald's food to taste the same wherever you go. Yeah. So the quality control in their process is pretty down packed. But yeah, I love that. I love the experience of getting, at that time, dressed up, having that 5 or however many course meal it was. I was like, oh, there's another one coming? Mm-hmm. That was like really great. Just swimming in the pool, just talking with folks. It was just such a really good experience, and the benefit of just being able to go and visit the other Sandals, go and have a nice good time at the other one and come back more relaxed, kind of more chill vibe. Yeah. So I know you said one experience, but there's many.
No, sure. I mean, it was a great time. It was our first like real luxury trip. So it was so exciting.
Did we go to Dunn's River Falls while we were there? I can't remember.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. So, we definitely are not traditional, but my new husband on our honeymoon
Brandon
says, hey, I made some plans for us. What are we going to do on our honeymoon?
Because I'm the planner.
He's the planner. And he invited his family in Jamaica to come join us on our honeymoon.
Aha.
You're so romantic.
I do my best.
Now that you've been married for all these years and you look back, obviously we were happy to see your family.
Well, I hadn't seen them in a while.
Yeah. Would you have done that again?
No, I wouldn't have done that again. That was the first time and only time I've ever done that, when we've gone to Jamaica.
No, but I think that it was just a little, at the time, I was like, okay, we're going to hang out with your family on our honeymoon.
Just for a little small time. And we went to Green Gato Cage.
Yeah, Green Gato Cave. Yeah.
And they had bats. And Lisa doesn't like flying animals.
Yeah.
Bats or birds. How did that make you feel when you went into
But who likes bats?
You know, there's people that like, Ozzy Osbourne likes bats.
Okay. Well, you guys will soon learn that I have a big phobia of birds, bats, anything that's flying. But we'll save those stories for another day.
Especially Parrot Jungle story.
Oh my gosh.
And Disney story.
So you guys have heard our proposal, wedding, honeymoon story, but we haven't heard yours. So make sure that you drop down in the comments below where you had your honeymoon, what was the most special moment on your honeymoon, and if you haven't gotten married or had a honeymoon, what's your dream destination?
Yes.
We want to know. So I guess that's it.
That's it. But the most important thing is like and subscribe.
See you soon.